Have you ever felt like some people drain your peace just by being around? Like there's something behind the smile, behind the advice, behind the kindness? What if I told you the biggest conflicts in your life might never need confrontation? Yes, the secret might be the opposite: silence. Most people waste their energy trying to explain, defend, or justify themselves. But today, you'll discover why the real power lies in observing. In this video, you'll meet 7 types of people you should never confront, only observe. And no, that's not weakness, that's strategy, wisdom, mind control. It's what the ancients called invisible strength, the kind that protects you without fighting. We'll talk about charming manipulators, chronic victims, disguised competitors, hidden envious types, and more. People who sabotage your emotional balance without you even realizing. Stoic philosophy will help you stay calm under pressure, control anger, stop overreacting, and develop a mental strength that intimidates without raising your voice. Get ready to see what most people miss and free yourself from relationships that drain, confuse, and control. If this already speaks to you, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel to receive more life-changing insights. He arrives with a smile, compliments, and kind words. And before you know it, you're doing everything he wants without realizing where you lost yourself. The charismatic manipulator doesn't raise his voice. He convinces. He uses affection as bait and kindness as a chain. And the most dangerous part? He truly seems like he just wants what's best for you, but behind the charm hides control. These people test your limits under the disguise of love and attention. You start to feel indebted to them. Saying no feels like betrayal. And that's where the trap is. The more you try to explain yourself, the more entangled you become. Stoic philosophy teaches, don't react on impulse. Observe. The manipulator feeds on your imbalance. Staying calm under pressure is where your mental strength begins. When you choose not to play the game he built, when you go silent and watch, you begin to see what was hidden behind the praise. A silent demand, a need for control disguised as care. Marcus Aurelius taught us that true freedom is mastering your own mind. And mastering your mind means resisting the urge to confront someone who just wants you to explode. That silence isn't weakness, it's strategic wisdom. Want an example? Instead of reacting to a loving jab, just smile and change the subject. If they try to involve you in something uncomfortable, say you'll think about it, then say nothing more. That's self-discipline, acting consciously, not reactively. Stoic life philosophy shows us it's possible to be firm without raising your voice, to be clear without over-explaining. If you've ever felt drained after talking to someone like this, there's your sign. Emotional exhaustion is the symptom of a connection that drains you. Ancient wisdom alerts us to these subtleties, like dealing with insults disguised as jokes. Laughing along is opening the door to your own ego, so go quiet. And while the other keeps manipulating, you grow stronger inside. Let them continue their performance. You'll stay in the audience, they're observing. Because while they're setting up their stage, you're building your own path, with no audience, no applause, just inner peace. And by silencing the manipulator, you begin to clearly see others who may also be feeding off your energy without you noticing. You barely finish your sentence, and they're already hurt. Everything turns into drama. Everything feels personal. The professional offended turns even a simple good morning into a veiled insult. It's like walking through a minefield. Any wrong step triggers an emotional explosion. And the most frustrating part, the more you try to explain, the more they cast themselves as the victim. This emotional trap consumes your energy and distorts reality. According to Stoic philosophy, we are only responsible for our intentions, not for how others react. And here, staying calm is your shield. Trying to justify every word is like chasing the wind. It never ends. If you explain too much, you're accused of being aggressive. If you stay quiet, you're accused of being cold. So, what's the way out? Silence with wisdom. Imagine you're with friends, sharing an opinion, and they take it personally. Suddenly the chat becomes a courtroom and you're the accused. In that moment, confrontation only feeds their wounded ego. The best choice is active neutrality. Listen with presence, but don't get pulled into the game of validation. As Epictetus said, Those who master their minds don't need to prove anything. Need a practical example? If you must give feedback to someone like this, do it objectively and keep it short. No long explanations. Just speak what needs to be said and walk away. Let time do the rest. The truth always surfaces, and emotional imbalance reveals itself in time. Confronting hypersensitivity is a waste of your inner peace. And don't be fooled. The professional offended isn't looking for resolution. They're looking for attention. They use resentment as currency. Here, silence is stress management. When you calmly withdraw, they panic without a stage to perform on. Seneca would say, "We are freer when we are not reactive." This is the art of staying unshaken. And once you start applying this consistently, something curious happens. The professional offended begins to avoid your presence. Why? Because your silence exposes them. And slowly, you begin to notice other similar patterns around. People who don't really want help, just attention. They clap when you achieve something, but if you pay attention, you'll see the smile doesn't quite reach their eyes. The competitor disguised as a friend stays close only to measure who's winning. They say they're happy for you, but inside they're uneasy. Their compliments come with a but. Their presence brings comparison, not connection. And the worst part? They always want to be one step ahead without ever admitting it's a competition. Stoic philosophy teaches us to act with purpose, not to impress. If you try to confront this type of person, they'll play the victim. They'll claim you're imagining things. Confrontation becomes fuel for their performance as the misunderstood friend. So what to do? Stay quiet and let life show the truth. Silent success is the most powerful response to hidden envy. Here's a real-world example. You share an exciting new project, and they immediately point out that someone else already did something like that, only better. That's a trap. Don't justify yourself, just keep walking. Mastery of the mind means staying on your path without being infected by someone else's silent rivalry. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike those who cause us harm. Practically speaking, keep your personal plans more private. That's not distrust, it's protecting your peace. Self-discipline also means choosing who to share your energy with. Stoic life philosophy reminds us we don't need to shine for anyone else's approval. When you shine for yourself, false friends get uncomfortable on their own. Watch who celebrates your wins and who only shows up in your struggles. Who lifts you up and who always has a however in their feedback. The power of perception is essential here. The hidden competitor reveals themselves through details. Constant comparisons, urgency to outdo, the subtle sting in their compliments. Stay silent and keep growing. And as you grow in silence, something powerful happens. They start to drift away as if your presence alone unsettles them. And in their absence, you'll begin to notice another familiar pattern. People who live attached to the role of the victim, never taking responsibility but always needing to be rescued. They're never at fault. Everything in their life is someone else's doing. The government, their parents, bad luck, Mercury in retrograde. Playing the victim has become their identity, and any attempt to pull them out of it is seen as an attack. The problem isn't the pain they've lived, it's the way they weaponize it to avoid growth. Confronting someone like this is like wrestling in the mud. You get dirty and they love it. Stoicism reminds us, life isn't about what happens to us, but how we respond to it. And the chronic victim is a master at dodging responsibility. Try pointing out something they could change, and they'll flip the situation instantly. You don't understand what I've been through. That sentence cancels logic and activates guilt. That's why maturity in silence is your smartest response. Think of someone who constantly complains about their job, relationships, or health, but never takes action. You suggest therapy, reading, exercise, and they always have an excuse. What they want isn't growth, it's attention. Emotional control is vital here. Don't get sucked into trying to save someone who clings to the mud. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step away. Want a direct example? Someone always venting about a toxic relationship but never leaving it, or hating their job yet never updating their resume. In these cases, listen briefly and respond with, "Have you thought about getting help for that?" Then stop. Stoic philosophy teaches, you can offer the bridge, but you're not responsible for carrying them across it. This approach might feel cold, but it's actually freeing. The chronic victim drains your energy, and you often don't realize it. When you stop reacting and choose silence, they're left alone with their narrative. And sometimes that loneliness is the only push they need to change. But if you keep feeding the complaint, they'll never grow, and you'll burn out. And when you step away with grace, you begin to see more of these energy drainers around you. People who don't want solutions, just an audience. Among them, there's one who smiles at you, supports you, but deep down, can't stand your success. They're always around, offering mild praise, smiling at your wins, but if you pay attention, you'll feel something's off. Every time you succeed, they slip in a subtle jab, a needless comparison, a sarcastic remark. This type of person doesn't attack you. They wear you down. Like rust, they corrode your spirit quietly. It's not open hostility, it's silent sabotage, and it often hides behind the mask of friendship. Stoic philosophy teaches us that envy is born when someone sees in you what they can't find in themselves. The camouflaged envious one pretends to support you, but secretly feels disturbed by your light. The more you try to please them, the more they wait for your downfall. Confronting them is useless. They'll twist it all and call you paranoid. That's why the wisest response is silent observation. Want a classic example? You share good news and they respond with, "Well, someone else did that too," even faster. Or, "Hope it doesn't go to your head." Sounds harmless, right? But it erodes confidence over time. And if you react, they play the victim. That's why mastering anger and staying calm under pressure becomes your secret weapon. To apply this, limit how much you share with people who never truly celebrated you. Pay attention to subtle reactions. Instead of confronting, try strategic withdrawal. Speak less, reveal less, be present less. As Seneca said, those who shine too brightly attract shadows. It's better to protect your peace than to waste energy trying to win over someone who wants to dim your light. Ancient wisdom reminds us that true elegance lies in leaving quietly. No explanations, just distance. Self-improvement includes choosing your circle wisely. When you possess inner peace, there's no need to prove anything. You simply move forward. Growth doesn't need applause, it needs direction. And while you grow in silence, something powerful happens. The envious one begins to reveal themselves, because when you don't react, they lose their grip on the narrative. And in that silence, another character appears, someone who doesn't hide behind charm or envy, but who pokes you on purpose, just to get a reaction. They're always testing your limits, and it's not by accident. It's calculated. The intentional provoker knows exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to say it to try and throw you off balance. Sometimes it's a co-worker making a sharp joke in front of everyone. Other times, it's a family member offering advice wrapped in criticism. They're not after dialogue, they're after reaction. And confrontation only feeds their ego. Marcus Aurelius taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That's the heart of stoicism. The provoker feels in control when they see you explode, justify yourself, or lose your composure. They want the show, but when you respond with silence and neutrality, you shatter their expectations and throw the discomfort back at them. That's mind mastery. Think of a real situation. Someone pokes at your insecurities with sarcasm, hoping for a blow-up. Instead, you stay calm and simply say, "Got it," and move on. It may seem small, but it wrecks their plan. How do you control anger? Simple. Practice not reacting. That's not weakness. It's emotional intelligence in action. Practically speaking, this involves techniques like conscious breathing, mental repetition, and silent affirmations. A good Stoic exercise? Repeat in your mind, "This is not mine," because when someone provokes, they're showing you their imbalance, not yours. And that's where self-discipline kicks in, choosing not to bite the bait, even when everything in you wants to respond. True mental strength isn't about winning arguments, it's about not needing them. Resilience training is just that, enduring discomfort without destroying yourself. As Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." In this case, silence is the most elegant strike, and the most effective. And the more you apply this, the more the provoker weakens. They get frustrated, reveal their true nature, and slowly disappear. And in that empty space, someone new often steps in. Not with sarcasm, but with polished words and a charming voice. Someone who calls themselves a guide. He comes with wise words, a calm voice, and a deep gaze. He speaks like someone who's carried ancient wisdom for lifetimes. But in practice, what he really wants is control. The false mentor doesn't teach, he dictates. He wraps fear in advice and cloaks manipulation in concern. And the most dangerous part? He makes you believe you're being guided, when in reality, you're being steered. Seneca would warn us, no wind favors the one who doesn't know where they're going. The false mentor flips that truth. He tries to choose your destination. If you start thinking for yourself, he questions your readiness. If you disagree, he says you don't understand yet. And that's where Stoic philosophy becomes your shield, self-knowledge as protection against false authority. Want a practical example? You share a new idea, a decision you're excited about, and he responds with a calm but heavy, "It's not the right time." At first, it sounds like wisdom, but beneath it lies a desire to keep you small, dependent. If you continue anyway, he distances himself, or worse, blames you for not listening to truth. Don't fall into that trap. In practice, listen to multiple sources. Read Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus. Learn from real mentors, from experience, from diverse voices. But don't hand your mind over to anyone as if they own the truth. Self-improvement starts from the inside. Mind mastery requires filtering advice with discernment. And sometimes the best way to grow is in silence. No audience, no applause. Be firm without confrontation. Smile, thank them, and move forward. How do you control anger? By understanding, it often arises from trying to explain yourself to those who don't want to understand. Stay calm under pressure. The false mentor can't handle silence. He needs your uncertainty to survive. And when you grow without needing him, he fades. Just like that. And in your quiet evolution, you begin to notice what few people do. Many masks fall without a sound. And perhaps the hardest one to face is the one that dazzles, the one that seduces with charm, status, and success. But behind it all hides a hollow craving for attention. Everything about them is calculated. Their speech, their clothes, the places they go, even what they post online. The master of appearance lives to impress, but inside, they're often empty. They build a flawless facade, and any attempt to point out the cracks turns you into an enemy. This type can't stand being ignored because they survive on the image they project. Stoic philosophy teaches that what truly matters isn't what we show, but what we cultivate within. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the rock against which the waves crash." And here, that rock is silence. You don't need to expose superficiality. You just need to be deep. Your inner peace dismantles their performance. Here's a clear example. Someone constantly flaunts achievements, quotes titles, but shows no consistency, no humility. And when you don't react with admiration, they get uncomfortable. Want to test it? Stop liking, stop praising, just observe. Someone who lives for applause panics when the stage goes silent. Silence reveals what noise tries to hide. Want to apply this? Practice quiet presence. Develop yourself. Read books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or On the Shortness of Life by Seneca, but do it without fanfare. Focus on your personal development. No need to prove anything. Ancient wisdom reminds us, true value makes no noise. It transforms silently. And as you grow without a show, the master of appearance begins to feel exposed. Your depth becomes a mirror reflecting their shallowness. And there's no confrontation more powerful than being authentic in a world obsessed with image. In this case, silence is rebellion. And when you realize the full power of all this, of silencing, observing, growing with intention, you begin to see patterns that were invisible before. And it's in that moment that you become immune to manipulation, ego traps, and relationships that drain you. But now, it's time to talk about what all of this reveals. Now that you've learned to recognize each of these profiles, and more importantly, how to deal with them wisely, here comes the real question. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you keep confronting people who thrive on drama, image and manipulation? Or will you choose silence as your protection, as an act of wisdom? The choice to observe instead of react might be the one thing that saves your emotional energy from now on. Can you think of someone in your life who fits one of these profiles? Have you ever found yourself over-explaining to someone who never really wanted to understand you? Drop it in the comments. Tell us which type you've dealt with most. Your story might resonate with someone else and help them see what they couldn't before. Sometimes a single comment can spark clarity for another person. Remember, mind mastery, self-discipline, inner peace, and mental strength don't come from confrontation. They come from the conscious choice to avoid unnecessary battles. That's stoicism in action. If you want to keep growing in emotional intelligence, self-development, and personal wisdom, subscribe to the channel now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything that can change your life from the inside out.